Happy Monday, Tappers, and welcome to another episode of Saxton Teaches. I really hope you guys are watching these videos. I have found that the people who, it's easy to tell when I get an email during the day who has watched the video and who hasn't watched the video. And quite frankly, the people who watch the videos tend to not email me as much and tend to have everything they need to be successful on whatever it is we're doing that day, because I usually explain them in the video. The people who send me emails confused about what they're supposed to do are usually the ones who I know haven't watched the videos. So I've decided to, instead of putting a bunch of instructions on the assignment after the video, to just kind of leave it blank, so that you have to watch the videos. I do try and teach you in the videos. I know they're long and boring and I talk too much and I never do anything fun, but I do try and teach you. This is the closest I can get right now to being face to face, unless we did a Zoom meeting every day, which I don't think you guys would enjoy particularly, which would be actually harder. So those of you who are watching the video, good job. And those of you who aren't, wouldn't hear me say this anyway. So those of you who are watching the video, encourage your friends to watch the videos. Okay, on this episode of Saxton Teaches, we've got another day with Tap 1. Quick reminder. Oh, look, a cartoon. For your enjoyment today, because I never do anything fun in this class. This, sometimes I'm just going to let you read it, but sometimes it's best to be honest. That's what the theme of this cartoon is. Sometimes it's just best to be honest. Like the student in this comic is doing. Because I think that's the main reason homework doesn't get done. Am I right? No need to answer that. Okay, reminders about what we did last week. So we had an assignment on feedback, and I gave you that assignment on Monday. And remember, teachers are supposed to give you 7 days minimum to complete assignments. So this is the 7th day since I've given you that assignment. And then on Wednesday, we had 2 assignments. That was a lot, and I'm really sorry. So I think today's will be a lot easier on you. It'll make you think, but it'll be easier to complete. It'll be less time consuming, I think. So on Wednesday, I gave you 2 assignments. I have asked you to do a worksheet on types of questions. And then I asked you to write some questions for a summative assessment for this class. So the 7-day window on that will be this coming Wednesday, the 22nd. So stay caught up. Do your best to stay caught up. Really, that's what it's all about at this point in the year with the situation that's going on. Stay caught up and you'll be okay. All right. And then, as always, let me know if you have any questions. So last week we finished up Strand 5, which had a lot of stuff in it. It had 4 standards, and there was a lot going on there with assessing people, and you guys did a great job with that. It's clear to me you understand the difference between formative and summative assessments, when to give formative assessments, when to give summative assessments, the different variety of assessments that are available to you, and how to provide feedback. And you guys did a great job providing feedback. And you also, it's clear to me you understand what you're supposed to be measuring when you're giving assessments. So I felt really good about the learning you guys did on Strand 5. So if there are any concepts there that you're confused about, let me know. Okay, this week we embark on what, in my opinion, is the biggest strand in the whole core for this class, Strand 6, obviously. Um, Here's how big Strand 6 is. I couldn't fit it into one column on my slideshow here. Strand 6 is about special populations, or that word special is a loaded word. I wouldn't use the word special, but that's the word that they use. But special populations includes people with disabilities and also people who are gifted and talented. So there are lots of different ways to define special populations. And some people don't like being called special. Some people, there are negative connotations sometimes to the word special. The word special has a ton of different meanings. And, it sometimes it's a bad idea to call people special and make them think they're special. But it's populations that I'm going to phrase it this way. And this is why it's important to watch the videos so that you can get an actual teacher's perspective on some of this stuff. These are populations that are not served often or not served as consistently as other populations, and populations that need to be protected because of that. So that's how I think of these populations. So as you can see, this is a dense, long, there's a lot of stuff in Strand 6, bottom line, that you have to learn. And it does take up the biggest portion of your skills certification exam that I think they're still going to have you take. I'm going to try and get you a final word on that. But there is a lot going on with this strand. So we're not going to get into it a lot today, but just keep that in mind. So we'll dive in on Wednesday a little bit more. Today I'm going to keep your activity real simple and today I'm going to have you think about it in a broad way, big picture way, but then we'll delve into the specifics starting on Wednesday. Another thing to keep in mind as we move forward, as the semester starts to wind down, is not only covering all of the strands, but making sure you're familiar with the vocabulary of the TAP 1 core. So the strands are great, but there's a lot of memorization going on when it comes with vocabulary. So, some people struggle with just memorizing names and acronyms and stuff, but I bring this up now again because Strand 6 is the most vocabulary heavy strand of the entire core. So just as a reminder of what the vocabulary section looks like, these are the vocabulary words that they have listed on our core that they want you to understand or know or be able to recall or be able to explain or be able to identify on a multiple choice question or be able to analyze or be able to identify. So there's just a ton of them. And you can see that a bunch of them are acronyms. And those acronyms, most of those acronyms are covered in this particular strand that we are starting on today. This one here, idea, just the word idea, that is an acronym that's in this strand that we're going to be learning. That's not the word idea, that's an acronym, idea. And then some of the acronyms are obvious to see. So I have an idea for how we can kind of work on this vocabulary. Some of this stuff should be very familiar to you. Some of it should, like constructive feedback, that should be familiar to you. Cooperative learning, that should be familiar to you. Coping skills, that was from Strand 1. So there's a lot of stuff here that should be familiar to you, but there's stuff here that is probably not. So we'll work on this as well. Okay, Strand 6 in the TAP 1 core is honestly a big section of it. And the impetus behind it is the law. Chung chung. The law is being a teacher, you have to know a lot of laws. Now, this won't be the first time we've talked about the law when it comes to teaching. We talked about the law when we went through Strand 1, and we were talking about professionalism and student-teacher relationships. And we covered the law quite a bit in Strand 1, but a lot of the laws that we covered in Strand 1 are laws that were created because people did stupid things. A lot of them were. People did stupid things and they were like, well, we need to make sure that teachers know that's illegal. And so because they were based on that, there were a lot of laws about what we can't do as teachers, what we're not allowed to do. Now, Strand 6 talks about the law quite a bit. But I think that one of the main differences is that in Strand 6, it talks about what we have to do as teachers. So that is what I want you to think about for a second. What are some things that teachers have to do that are based on things that schools have to do? And who decides what it is that we have to do? Who are the people pulling the strings and making the decision about what it is that we have to do? Well, the people who make laws are called lawmakers, and lawmakers are government employees. And for better or worse, they're the ones who make the decisions about what we have to do in schools. And that's not really a bad thing, as long as they are making those laws based on educational research and best practices. So here's what I want you to do today to start thinking about this, to start putting your mind in the mindset of what this strand is about. You're going to do a teaching moment today, and I want you to record it. And it's just like the last one, where you record it, you make a recording of yourself on the video, on the discussion that I have on the next page. Now, hopefully you're paying attention because I didn't put the instructions on there. If you don't remember how to make a video or how to upload a video, let me know and I'll send you the link to the old video. But you can access all of our old lessons down at the bottom of the homepage on Canvas. It goes all the way back. It goes back to the stuff we did before spring break when we first were on quarantine. And then it has day by day every lesson we've had since spring break. So that's at the bottom of the homepage. So I think it was April 8th that we did our last teaching moment. So you can go back to that page and you can see instructions for how to make a video. But since we've done it before, I'm not going to put those instructions here. So you're going to do a teaching moment where you respond to a prompt. And I want you to do it on camera verbally. Think about how you would present yourself as a teacher practice that skill of talking. We would do a lot more of this type of stuff if we were meeting face to face. But anyway, here's your prompt for this teaching moment. Answer this question. It's a tough one. You're going to have to think about it. What responsibility does the government have when it comes to educating children? And there's more than one. There's more than one responsibility. So try to avoid giving a one-word answer, or try to avoid just saying they only have one responsibility. I'm going to ask you to come up with at least two responsibilities that the government has, but make them good ones, and see if you can come up with responsibilities that other people haven't mentioned. You don't have to, but what is the government's responsibility? Sometimes it's difficult as a student to understand that uh, school is a government function. School is there because there are laws. That schools a national thing. School's public, and school's also a socialistic thing. So, what responsibility does the government have when it comes to educating children? What is the responsibility of the government? It's a big question. So I kind of hope you struggle with it a little bit, and if you have to look it up, that's fine. But why do they have that responsibility? Why is it the government's responsibility? Why who all of a sudden one day said, "You know what? We need to have schools." I mean, all the money that schools get comes from the government. All of it. Some of it comes from the state government, some of it comes from the local government, and honestly, that's where a lot of it comes from. And there's some programs that are funded by the federal government. So the way it works is based on laws. So, what responsibility does the government have when it comes to educating children, and why? Why is that the government's responsibility? And you'll answer that in the discussion on the next page. And you will also respond to what someone else says. So, those are your instructions for today's teaching moment. Again, you have to watch the video to get those instructions. But let me know if you have any questions after you've watched the video. I hope you guys have an amazing week. Make sure that you are all caught up on the assignments I gave you last week. And then you can access all those assignments at the bottom of the homepage. Have an awesome week. And I will see you guys on Wednesday.